In the labyrinthine corridors of the hospital, beneath the flickering fluorescent lights and the constant hum of machinery, I once navigated the world of IT, tasked with keeping the digital heart of the facility beating steadily. But what I encountered during my night shifts would forever shatter my sense of reality, plunging me into a realm where the boundaries between life and death blurred with chilling uncertainty. It was during one of those overnight rollouts that I first witnessed the inexplicable. The clock was inching past midnight, and the quietude of the hospital was only disturbed by the rhythmic sound of my keyboard clacking and the distant hum of medical equipment. Our team had gathered to initiate an intricate software upgrade that demanded our full attention. Little did we know, this would be the night that spiraled into the depths of the uncanny. Amidst lines of code and hushed conversations, a sense of unease settled over me. It was as though the very air had grown thick with tension, though no discernible reason could be pinpointed. The sensation was fleeting, dismissed as mere exhaustion or the natural paranoia that sometimes accompanies isolation in a hospital stillness. But as the night deepened, that unease transformed into something more sinister. A sudden movement caught my peripheral vision, causing me to jerk my head toward the long corridor outside the glass walls of our IT office. There, in the dim light, I glimpsed a figure moving with an urgency I had never witnessed before. My eyes widened in disbelief as the image crystallized. The hospital's coroner, a middle-aged man who typically moved with a slow, methodical gait, was running full tilt down the corridor, his lab coat billowing behind him. Heart pounding, I exchanged a bewildered glance with my colleagues, who had also noticed the unusual spectacle. Before we could process what we had seen, the coroner was upon us. Gasping for breath, his eyes wild with a mixture of fear and urgency, he spat out the words that would forever etch themselves into my memory. Out of the way, I got another live one. The declaration hung in the air like an omen, punctuated by the echo of his hurried footsteps fading into the distance. My pulse quickened as my mind raced to make sense of the inconceivable scenario. Another live one? It was as though the coroner was chasing a specter, a soul that had defied the clutches of death itself. A sickening knot twisted in my stomach, mingling with the inescapable feeling that a chilling darkness had descended upon the hospital. As the minutes ticked away, a wave of dread swept over us, overshadowing the task at hand. We glanced at each other, faces pale in the stark glow of the computer screens. Should we follow? Should we remain in the safety of our IT sanctuary? It was a unanimous decision, a gut-driven impulse that led us to abandon our workstations and venture out into the corridor. The hospital seemed transformed in the dead of night. Shadows danced menacingly along the walls, and every creak of the floorboards resonated with a sinister intent. Our footsteps echoed like an eerie symphony, harmonizing with the relentless beating of our hearts. We followed the trail the coroner had left behind, drawn toward the morgue by an inexplicable force that defied rationality. The morgue door loomed before us, an imposing barrier between the known and the unknowable. Hesitation gnawed at our resolve, but there was no turning back now. With trembling hands, I pushed open the door, revealing a scene that would haunt my dreams for years to come. The morgue was dimly lit, and in the center of the room lay a gurney, shrouded by a thin white sheet. But what lay atop that gurney was anything but ordinary. A figure, unmistakably human yet inexplicably animated, writhed beneath the sheet. The air seemed charged with an otherworldly energy, a palpable unease that clung to my skin. Time appeared to stand still as we confronted the impossible. Was it a resurrection? A cruel trick of the mind? Fear mingled with disbelief, and the air grew thick with the weight of the unknown. In that moment, as the specter beneath the sheet convulsed, a realization pierced through the fog of terror. The boundaries between life and death were crumbling, and we were mere witnesses to the unraveling of reality itself. And then, as swiftly as it had begun, the convulsion ceased. The figure lay still beneath the sheet, and an oppressive silence enveloped the room. It was a silence that spoke of the impossible, of a truth that could never be untangled. As the dawn broke, Painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, we retreated from the morgue, our minds a whirlwind of questions without answers. In the days that followed, the memory of that night would refuse to fade. The incident remained an unexplainable enigma, a testament to the unfathomable mysteries that lurked in the shadows of our reality. As for the coroner's chilling proclamation, another live one, it echoed in our minds, a haunting reminder that some truths defy reason, and that the veil between life and death is thinner than we dare to believe.